A dog is lying by the side of the road. He's very sick, almost exhausted, and he's screaming for help. Without wasting a second, we ran to the indicated spot. When we got there, what we saw was a scene we will never forget. In the middle of the rain-soaked road, lying in the cold mud, he lay. His frail body lay motionless. His eyes remained closed. It was as if he had given up fighting. For a moment, the silence was overwhelming, broken only by the sound of water running through the gutters. We got closer. His breathing was shallow, almost imperceptible. Was he still alive? His body was completely soaked, and everything indicated he had remained in that icy water for hours. With each passing second, fear grew within us. We knelt beside him, gently touched his body, called his name, but there was no response. It was like holding on to life by a thread that could snap at any moment. 5 minutes later, which seemed like an eternity, the veterinary ambulance arrived. The team quickly got out, and together we loaded the poor animal into the vehicle. He didn't react, didn't even know he was being rescued. But on the way to the clinic, something unexpected happened, a glimmer of hope. For a brief moment, his eyes opened. Eyes tired, but filled with pain. And with enormous effort, he drew in air, revealing shallow, almost non-existent breathing. What would have happened if we had arrived a few minutes later? This question echoed in our minds relentlessly. At the veterinary clinic, the atmosphere grew tense. He was placed under observation, but soon fell into a coma. Fear gripped us all. Would he survive? Would he have the strength to return? As we waited, the silence was heavy. Their silent prayers filled the room. Then, when we least expected it, he blinked. He moved slightly. It was as if to say, "I'm still here. I won't give up." The vet wasted no time. He examined his paws, which were severely swollen. His wounds were deep, showing signs of advanced infection. The strong odor emanating from them revealed he had been suffering like this for a long time, likely alone, with no one around to help him. The professionals began treatment immediately. The disinfectant stung upon contact with the wounds, and his body twitched in pain, but it was necessary. Patiently, the vet trimmed the fur around the wounds, cleaned every detail, and prepared intravenous lines for fluids, antibiotics, and medications. It was a race against time. He needed strength. He was offered soft, easy-to-swallow food. At first, he could barely taste. Then, little by little, he ate a little more. When we saw that he was eating, we breathed a sigh of relief. It was a miracle happening before our eyes. But the road was still long. He was connected to a ventilator to help his breathing. He received antibiotics to fight the infection, painkillers to ease his pain, and began to rest in a quiet, warm, and protected room. It was the first time in a long time that he was safe. Jenna, the woman who had filed the complaint, was inseparable from the hospital. She waited every day, anxious for news. Each time she went in to visit him, she saw a small improvement. He seemed more alive, more awake, with a spark of hope in his eyes. A week passed, a week of intensive care, of vigils, of love. And then, before all of us, he stood up. Still weak, but steady enough to take his first steps. It was impossible to hold back the tears at that moment. Jenna, overcome with emotion, decided to take him home. She carried him in her arms, crying with gratitude that he had survived. She gave him a special name, Lucky, because indeed, he was a survivor, a true miracle. Today, Lucky runs freely around the yard, eats happily, sleeps peacefully, and finally knows what it means to be loved. He has learned to trust again. He has learned that not all humans will abandon him. Jenna, for her part, often watches him and smiles silently, remembering that day. That moment, that decision, saved a life. And that's exactly it. Sometimes it's not the grand gestures that change someone's destiny. Sometimes It's just a kind heart, willing to act at the right time, that transforms suffering into hope and pain into a new chance at life.